Going. Happy to have Marisa Ferger for the weather briefing this week. So take it away.
Thanks for having me. This is not a Mac. I am a Mac person. The bottom of this chart is not showing. There it goes. Hi, everybody. Wow, this is a big crew. The weather is boring, and we have lots of people here. And there's free cake across the street. So you students who are here, there is. Go, Will. And I think some sort of Mexican dip. So those of you who are here, especially the students, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Unlike everybody else, I'm not putting together a PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to talk weather with you. So hopefully that's okay. And I want this to be interactive, so feel free to chime in and give your opinion, your voice maybe. But before I start, for those of you who don't know, this forecasting series is named after Ken Reeves, a graduate of this department and a man who worked at AccuWeather for many years, who died. I think it's now, we're going on 7 years ago that he died suddenly. And we were doing these before he passed away, and then the students decided to name this the briefing series after him. And he was a huge proponent of students, and he had so many things going with AccuWeather and students, and so it's really nice that we've been able to keep his legacy going here. Speaking of legacies, I hope the legacy of this spring does not go on, because as Ben has made for us this lovely chart, Ben and Fred put these out. This goes back to mid-March, and you can tell this is incredibly depressing. There are only 7 above average high temperature days in this 5-week period, and some of them, like this one here, I don't even know if you can count it.
I was going to say, some of those you can't even.
Yeah, these are pretty pathetic.
Yeah,
it was last weekend really gave us a nice touch of summer instead of spring. And but this just goes to show you that if you are miserable and sad and depressed, there is a reason for it, because this has just been bad. Average high right now is in the low 60s. Average low is in the low 40s. And right now, at least last I looked, we still weren't even at our average low for today, meaning high temperature wise. We haven't gotten notched up there. So ahead at our Friends Climate Prediction Center and see what theirs go. Here is the temperature outlook for April 24th to the 28th, and still a little bit on the sad side. I like the color blue, but looking ahead till finals week, and we're still and one thing Ben and I both noticed this morning, and maybe some of you might have a better idea of this or better reasoning for this. So we were looking at the 3 to 4 week outlook. It was made on April 13th, and it's valid from the 28th of April through the 11th of May. And obviously we can still see this huge below average temperature forecast for a huge chunk of the eastern US. My question is, if you look at the 1 month outlook, which was made today, valid for the month of May, it gives us a little bit of hope and shows above average. So does that mean that the second half of May, there's suddenly going to be a flip of, well, above average temperatures? Or should we just completely disregard this and not have it, hold on to any hope? I don't know. I don't have much at this point. Anyway, I just thought, Ben and I thought that was interesting. We were chatting this morning. I also found this map this morning that was posted. Somebody had it on Twitter, and if you look outside, some of the trees are trying to bud, and I saw that last weekend the daffodils suddenly sprang when we had the 80-degree temperatures. This map here is pretty cool. It shows you the spring leaf index anomaly. So the colors that it starts in January. The colors that are the more deeper reds are 20 trees that bloom 20 days earlier compared to average. And then the darker blues go to 20 days later than average. And I think we can go and get an actual, where is the, let me get a static map. So here it is from today. You can see central Pennsylvania just now getting into some of these blues, which would be maybe not 20 days late, but you can tell it's about 2 to 3 weeks later than average for when we get blooms. I do think that when we suddenly do get a nice warm spell, things will all pop at one time. So those of you allergy sufferers will be pretty miserable. Speaking of, I don't know if any of you use this site, pollen.com. I have a child who has really bad allergies, so I have this app and I check because it's nice. It shows you what the worst offenders are for that day. And you can see today's weather is not really conducive to the bad pollen. But if you click on State College, and I don't know who puts this out, because they also do weather forecasts as well on this page. Come on, can you do it for me? Oh, the tag, if it'll let me get up there. But so yesterday we had a high pollen count. Today's just a medium, and the forecast for tomorrow is a medium high. And these are the three trees that are the big problems at the moment, which I just find interesting because my child has had the allergy testing, so we know which trees are the issue. So this is a neat site. And if you go to more forecasts on here, they also do a cold and flu forecast, asthma, and then they have a weather forecast as well. So little plug for them. But let's talk about today and the beautiful, beautiful day we're having. If you look at this map right here, this surface map, I look at this and I just think November, when you see the isobars coming down from here and the gusty winds and all of the overcast sky. It's just depressing. I think we've earned our right to sunny skies and above average temperatures. The front has moved through. It's starting to go through DC right now. Looks like it's 54 and raining there. Winds are now out of the northwest. Bradford, it's currently snowing and 30 degrees. I meant to pop up. No offense to Fred, but I like this surface map. You can see a little bit more. So here we're about 41. You can see some of the winds in western Pennsylvania gusting from 22 to it looks like 26. So the winds are here, and you can see the trees out there starting to move, and the squalls are starting to come in. And if we want to look at the radar to see where precip is moving through, I mean, that's just so sad when you see April 19th on there, and this is what we're getting from it. But it looks like the biggest blob of precipitation has now moved through, and behind it we're going to just get the squalls and snow showers intermittently for the rest of the day. And then I think at sunset it'll start to die down a little bit. Another neat thing we can see today from the satellite, visible satellite, although as sad of a satellite picture as it is, take a look at lower Michigan. You can see the snow, once the sun comes out there, you can see the snow melting away. You can see the same thing in northern Illinois once this loops through again. That's just one of the, at least there's a sign of spring there that the sun is, once you get sun, it actually does something this time of year. We just have to get it in order to do something. But once you go east of Michigan, it's again pretty depressing. See what's there. Obviously, it'll be pretty cloudy here the rest of the day. But let's look ahead. And if any of you want to chime in, feel free. Like I said, we can make this interactive. We'll look at the NAM first as a whole to see what's going on the next couple of days. Hopefully that's not too tiny for all of you guys to see. The good news is that trough tries to move out finally. We're still under the influence of the northwest flow, however. Through Saturday-ish, it tries to go more westerly late Saturday, and then I think Sunday's an even better day. And this storm system that's in the southeast, I think, is going to stay to the south for the weekend, although once we get into next week, it could curve up and bring us some more rain later next week. Yes, sir?
Yeah, so if you were kind of watching the progress last minute this morning, it's interesting how that first short wave that we had out west kind of got engulfed by that one that was up in northeast Canada. saw that this morning when you were looking, but I thought that was done.
Was that on last night's zero Z?
Yeah.
Do you know if it was the NAM or the GFS? What were you
They
looking
both had it.
They both had it?
Yep.
Let's look at what Will was just pointing out.
Those two shortwaves kind of interact with each other there.
Oh, they got up in Eastern Canada, you mean?
Yeah. Kind of delayed, it seemed like, that precip getting out too quickly this morning.
One of the problem areas with the precip there in the southwestern US is that you first look at it and say, ooh, precipitation where there's a really bad drought. But the problem is going to come in the form of thunderstorms. And New Mexico, eastern Colorado, Texas Panhandle, western Oklahoma, they really can't use the thunderstorms right now because that lightning may spark some issues. Yes, sir?
I think we're looking for the blue white cave on Saturday.
Well, this is why I have tropical tidbits up. How many of you use tropical tidbits? I only recently, was at one of these briefings that I discovered this, the whole being able to click and get a sounding. Isn't that the most beautiful thing?
Yeah, vertical cross section.
And the vertical cross sections you can do too. So I think in answer to your question, Grant, I think that it's going to, compared to today, it'll be much nicer. However, I don't know, I keep seeing people saying it's going to be sunny. And I haven't jumped on the sunny bandwagon quite yet. Now this time of year when it does get sunny, it feels great, even if it's only 53 degrees. And you guys can tell me if you disagree with me. And part of it is I'm not optimistic just because it's been so awful lately that I have a really hard time I'd love to wish cast sunshine for Saturday, but I just have a really hard time believing that it's actually going to happen. So I'm speaking specifically unscientifically here, just my gut feeling that, well, it's been, the sky's been garbage lately, that's what we're going to have. So anyway, let's look here. This one is the 3-kilometer NAM. My apologies let's see if we can get a little bit smaller for you guys. So you can see a little bit more. It's going to be a great day. The nice thing is, at least so they say when you're communicating weather, you want to tell people what you do know. What are the certainties? The certainty is it's going to be a dry day. That's the one thing, which is great. We've earned that. It's going to be below average still, temperature-wise. We're not getting into the lower 60s on Saturday. At least I'm not feeling very comfortable saying that. So getting into Saturday, look at that, the precipitation. We don't see any more blues. High pressure tries to move in on Saturday. And let's go to 18Z. Ray, this is the thing you haven't seen yet, Ray?
I have not been on tropical tidbits.
This is so fun. So
who publishes that? Do we know?
Levi Cohen's aggressive.
Okay.
Coolest thing ever. So
You can make area average sound now too.
Yeah, if you click and drag in the square.
well, let's do that.
And then and then it'll give you a range within that.
Oh, I see. There's the green.
Yeah.
Around. Oh, okay. So this is actually providing me with more hope. This must be, is this the 12Z data? I did look to see if this was coming from 12Z. I haven't looked at the 12Z. I looked at the 6.
That's off the NAM?
Yeah, this one's off the NAM. The 6Z was a little less optimistic than this. So this is at valid 18Z. It's got a temp of 52 and really not too much in the way of obstruction there. Let's go a little bit. How fun. This is so fun. Now I almost want there to be some sort of freezing rain event so we can play more. But we can wait another 6 months for that to happen. So this makes me a little uneasy in this layer here. But if we do, at least that's high level clouds. So we're not going to be like this junk that's out there today. I also noticed that the winds are forecast to be very light, which at least is helpful as well. If we're planning on going outside.
Are you at all worried about the ability to scour out the cold air? The entire week?
Well, no, I'm not. I don't think the cold. I think we'll get, if the sun pops out, we'll get to the 50s. But remember, the average high is in the lower 60s now, so we're not getting to average. Now let's click over to the same time period for the GFS, and let's just make sure it is coming from this morning's. I'm so excited by this. You guys telling me that little feature. Now the 6Z, yeah, the GFS was a little less optimistic.
That's 6Z?
This is, it was the 12Z run, valid 18Z on Saturday.
Okay, that's off the 12Z run this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a little bit, yeah.
So this one's not as optimistic as the NAM. The wind's still light, which is good, but yeah, no, the upper levels, we're still getting that cold air coming. What's that?
The surface temperature is actually warmer. Than
Surface temperature is warmer, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think, Grant, it's going to be a decent day. Unfortunately, it's not last Saturday where it was 80 degrees. And
It's perfect October football weather.
it's perfect. That's a beautiful way of saying it. It is football weather, you're right. And you know, it's better than what we're having right now. That's what I keep telling myself. Anything is better than what's happening today. And then we'll go ahead. I know there's some events within the department and college on Sunday. There's College of Earth Mineral Sciences, I guess, is doing a cleanup out at Stone Valley and Earth Day cleanup. And after that, they're having a picnic. But we have some students who are doing both.
Really?
That's right. They're going to one and then trekking across town and going to the big Subam's AccuWeather softball game.
I heard we're getting our cleanup hitter eventually.
You will be late.
All right.
You have your favorite cheerleader for about a half hour, and then your third baseman coming a little bit late. Sunday is, GFS is going warmer on Sunday. I don't know if I believe that it'll get this warm.
Quite left, right?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening here, but
Not bad.
but if we, let's go,
I think that's the GFS push pass.
that's the GFS. You know, everybody, we need some sort of hope, right? Isn't this what we all need? We'll go to the GFS on the e-wall and see what. The nice thing about the e-wall is the 4 panels, and you can look at all the different levels. That's why I like to go between the two. Say 15 panels. Oh, the NAM, the high-res NAM. So we get the high pressure. So Saturday night will be a cold night. Chilly, I should say, with high pressure right above. And then going into Sunday, we're still under high pressure. So maybe there is less of a chance for cloud cover Sunday because there's not as much upper level northwesterly flow and the high is sitting right on top of us. And that high keeps that spread to the south suppressed, which is nice, until later in the week when it finally moves in and it gets dreary here again. The nice thing too is if you look at Saturday and Sunday, the 540 thickness line is still sitting right above us. But look, there's hope. It starts to go away as we get into the early part of the week. So even though it's going to be raining next week, at least it won't be 38 degrees outside and raining. So we're getting small bits of hope, teeny tiny baby steps of hope. And the good news is, at least in the latest GFS, it doesn't look like after today we're going to see much in the way of snow. And for those of you who don't know, when you're in Walker Building, you can take a backdoor way to get to the Euro data from WSI.
I don't think that one's actually on.
Oh, it's not. Oh, are we? Because we're wireless.
Yeah, I don't.
That's why.
I think I am. Yes.
Darn it. All right, so I lied. We can't show you that. We'll go back to here. So yeah, it looks like to me.
That's the bad one.
I think there is going to be some hope for the future in the long run. We'll go to the last night's 0Z just to get a look at the pattern for the next couple of weeks, which is sad because in 2 weeks you guys are going to be leaving.
State College is giving us its best before we leave.
Well, it makes me sad for the freshmen and the seniors the most because the freshmen never got to experience, and the transfer students, they haven't had the chance yet to experience the beauty of State College in the spring, which it really is a lovely place. And the seniors, want to go out on a high note and get pictures next to tulips, and it's just not happening yet.
We got 3 more years, we're good.
You're good. Poor Will can't say that.
It's better than cloudy skies right in front of the football stadium for graduation.
Well, it's good for studying. This is great study weather, right? You're not feeling like you need to go outside and play and, take a long break because you don't want to be outside right now. But yeah, I don't see any big hopes for a warm up, but I think we're taking baby steps in the right direction. Is there anything any of you guys want to look at? There's also really no big severe weather events anywhere in the country, at least for the next week or so forecast.
So something I'll probably talk a little bit about next week is that Oklahoma may set its record for latest tornado anywhere in the state.
Really?
Did not have one this year. The latest, I think, is April 25th or 26th. And if you look at the GFS, it looks like it's not likely they'll get one between now and the end of April.
I'm assuming this correlates well with the drought conditions that they're having, since they haven't had.
It's part of that, but the eastern part of Oklahoma has actually been very moist.
Okay.
So you do have a moisture gradient across the state that would lead to at least a dry line setup if you could get a low east of the Rockies.
Yeah.
It's just the trough hasn't been in the right place at the same time as the moisture, and their best shot was last Friday.
And
everything was in
everything
Arkansas.
went east of there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, in a way, it's been a really boring weather pattern. I'd say it's been a very annoying weather pattern. But in some ways, it's exciting when you see that, you know, there's still places that are getting feet of snow in April. I mean, if I lived there, I'd be annoyed. But from being afar and seeing pictures of a foot or two of snow this time of year, it's pretty exciting. So I apologize if the weather's not more exciting for us here. But any other takes on the weekend?
Score prediction?
I was gonna say, who wins the game?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that on Friday night, there's some sort of lantern tours going on campus? It looks pretty cool. That I think it's from 7 to 9, somewhere near Old Main. You can take a lantern tour, and then there's gonna be some festival on the Old Main lawn with 50s stuff, and they might. I saw something about skee ball. That got me excited.
One of the nicest speakers from Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
I hope it's not tonight.
I feel like they're moving that inside. Friday night's still gonna be cold.
It's gonna be cold,
It's gonna
yeah.
be very cold.
This was phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
Last year, for perspective, it was in the 50s and 60s when they did it at night. For perspective on where we're at.
Yeah. Well, last year Blue White was terrible. It poured the whole time.
That's true.
It was an awful, awful day. But yeah, is there anything? I feel badly that there was nothing really exciting here.
Just a tidbit I'm aware of to sort of justify how terrible it's really been.
Because we need justification.
I only know this because I looked at it yesterday, but so this month here, there's been 5 days which failed to get to 40. And even in April, while that may not seem like a lot, it's actually the most since 1943. And
So we have reason to, Ben is telling us
and the
it's
third most
okay
on
if we
record.
whine.
So, yeah, I mean, failing to hit 45 times this month is not something that's actually very common.
Yeah,
This
so
summer, 43 then.
it's because Mother Nature's sad you're graduating,
Great
Will.
question, yes.
Was that counting today?
No, not counting today.
So
So
we might do it again.
if we fail again today, it'll be the second most on record.
And it's like, what's the temperature now? It's still in the 30s?
38.
Okay.
38, 37. probably.
Yeah, I don't see us,
That seems
I don't think it's gonna happen today, so, yeah. Yes, ma'am?
So how much, so with this persistent like cold weather, how much are we attributing this to like climate change? So we're warming off the water and
Ooh.
having more cold get down.
That is beyond me. Anybody else in the room want to answer that? We might have a,
Has there been any, because I know Vox, which is like an independent news site, they came out with a video saying a lot of it could be, they weren't saying anything. They had like a atmospheric scientist from Congress speak on it. It's actually really interesting video, they usually compile a lot of facts together, but they were saying that it could be with the polar ice caps melting and the water absorbing more water, it makes the cold air come down.
now, are they considered a fake news site?
Say Fox.
Fox is not fake news, though.
There's a ton of that. There's the attribution to that is pretty coast now. These, with the paper in our department, Professor Gervais showed that there is some indication that the patterns that would be, obviously with the changing climate, it would be progressively warming, but relative to a local climatology would be cooler than average. There's hints, at least in some of the climate ensembles, that indicate future, we're going to be locking into this pattern where we get stuck with the little prop sitting in the RVs more frequently.
Ooh,
So
I don't like
there's
that.
obviously, yeah, it's obviously a lot to kind of tease out within that, but there's at least some indication. We could be leaning more towards this pattern.
Interesting.
But if everything's 8 degrees warmer, then we're in the mid-50s already.
I'm okay with the persistent drop in the winter if it brings us snow in the winter.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm a seasonal gal. I like 4 seasons and I like them to take place during their allotted season.
I'd say for myself as the eternal optimist in the weather, I'm hoping the fact that we have this continual wave train working its way across the Pacific right now, that at least we'll get something to take out the bridge out west so we can clear the trough out east. But then I look at the model and I get really sad.
So see, you get Miss Pessimist here and Mr. Optimist there. We'll try to even each other out. Anybody else?
Anyone else?
Well, those of you students, if you still want to run across the street, they may have cake.
Oh,
It's very kind of you to come here because I really expected it to be just the usual suspects up here. So thank you guys for coming.
All right, let's give our speaker a round of applause.
And the next week's speaker is in the house.
Absolutely. As was alluded to earlier, Brandon Cantona will be our speaker next week to wrap up the discussions for this semester.
And maybe he'll have severe weather to talk about somewhere.
Absolutely. Hopefully an interesting discussion next week if the weather starts cooperating.
Yes. And it'll be the final one of the semester.
Yes, it'll be the final one of the semester. So thank you for those of you that have been coming out every single week. I know it's been a tough time throughout the semester, but we're hoping next semester too we can try to get the attendance up. We'll see how the timing works out for everyone.
Thanks for organizing it.